Code of Desire, Chapter 6. Snow blanketed the estate in thick powdery layers that glowed faintly blue under the moonlight. Inside, the main living room was alive with warmth and color. A roaring fire flickered in the hearth, its orange glow casting soft shadows across the walls. The towering pine tree in the corner was wrapped in silver mesh and strung with pale white lights, its branches heavy with ornaments. Some elegant glass, others strangely tech-shaped. A tray of untouched sugar cookies sat on the coffee table, next to 2 empty wine glasses and a mostly finished bottle of red. Overhead, soft Christmas jazz played, its classic melodies lightly warped with synthesized undertones. Sam's custom remix. "Gotcha!" Sam shouted from the floor, his avatar landing a decisive energy blade strike across Derek's on the shared Sentrix Halo screen. Derek groaned, tossing his head back. "That's cheating. You modified her movement algorithm again, didn't you?" Jane, sprawled beside Sam in a glossy red latex mini dress and thigh-high sequined boots, winked and bit her lip. "We just practice more. Coordination is part of our design." Her tone oozed amusement and challenge. She leaned into Sam, her Santa hat falling slightly askew. The soft jingle of its bell added a strange, childlike contrast to the very adult curve of her bare thigh. Lira lay draped across the couch with her legs in Derek's lap, dressed in shimmering green latex and nothing beneath. She was lazily twirling a strand of her platinum blonde hair, her thigh slowly sliding across his chest. "You're just sore because I crushed your avatar. Again." Derek murmured, distracted, his hand gliding along her thigh. "You've got a mean streak for someone who looks like a Christmas ornament." The 4 of them were tangled together in playful sensuality, intimate, relaxed, full of light flirtation and teasing touches. The room smelled of pine and cinnamon. For a fleeting moment, it was easy to believe that the world outside didn't exist. Then it came, a nearly imperceptible tone, silent to human ears, pinged inside Jane and Lyra's neural cores. Their vision sharpened, their posture straightened, but not by much, just enough to shift from play to alertness. The message was clear. Security breach detected. Outer perimeter, unidentified vehicle approaching gate. Jane's smile faltered only for a second. "Sam," she said, pressing a hand lightly on his chest, "would you get me a drink?" He looked at her, reading the signal behind her eyes. "Of course." Sam stood and crossed the room to the bar in perfect calm. At the same time, Lira untangled from Derek's lap and slowly stood, stretching like a cat, her back arching in a way that invited attention. Derek leaned forward slightly. "Trouble?" Jane nodded once, eyes at the gate, non-civilian. "Cindy?" Sam asked. A faint voice answered, only in their neural links. "Multiple heat signatures approaching. No warrant ping, no agency transmission, cloaked comms detected, not civilians." Sam opened the liquor cabinet but didn't reach for a bottle. Instead, he pulled a small leather box from the back, flipped it open and withdrew a silver TV remote. "Trigger it?" Derek asked from the couch, now fully upright. Sam pressed a button without hesitation. All around the house, the changes began. Quiet, invisible, but absolute. Cooling systems diverted, doors sealed, the estate's deep internet cabling physically severed via a magnetic cutoff in the sublevel switchboard. The walls became soundproof. Hidden defensive features activated silently. Cindy remained connected, fully cloaked, her digital body folded between lines of code. "Lab lockdown protocol active. You are now a closed loop. I'm maintaining external surveillance." The soft sound of tires crunching on ice drifted in from beyond the front windows. Jane and Lira moved to opposite sides of the room, pretending to clean up the game setup, but their eyes tracked the snow. Sam spoke softly, his tone even. Let's keep this festive." "We're dressed for it," Lira said, adjusting the edge of her dress, letting it ride up slightly as she stepped into the center of the room again. "What do we think? Corporate spokes or military grade?" "DHS," Cindy said. 5 vehicles, 8 men, 4 tactical, 4 plain clothes. No IDs broadcasting. Standard Homeland Security entry pattern. Derek stood up, his jaw tightening. "They didn't even bother hiding the convoy." "Which means they want us to know," Sam added. He looked to Jane. "You two ready?" Jane smiled slowly. "Always." Lira walked toward the window and pushed the curtain aside just enough to catch the headlights bouncing down the winding driveway. 3 SUVs, 2 black trucks, plate scans confirm government fleet. Jane glanced at the time, 5:14 p.m. Christmas Eve, subtle psychological timing. Disarming, unexpected, dangerous. The house phone rang, they all froze for a beat. Then Derek walked over and picked up the antique receiver. "Carter residence." A deep male voice came through, its tone clinical. "Good evening. We're with Homeland Security, conducting a regional scan due to reported anomalies. Just a routine visit. Mind if we come in for a moment?" "No warrant?" Derek asked flatly. "Not necessary. Friendly check-in. Could be environmental. Just looking for cooperation." Derek looked at Sam. Sam gave a nod. They were expecting something like this, but not so soon. Derek smiled into the phone. "Of course. We'd be happy to accommodate. Come up to the door." He hung up and tossed the receiver back into its cradle. Sam sighed. "It's starting." Jane adjusted her dress one last time, her tone syrupy sweet. "Time to give them a Christmas they'll never forget." Derek picked up his glass and raised it toward the others. "To unexpected guests." Lira laughed softly, grabbing a nearby wine bottle and pouring herself a full glass. "I'll play dumb. Jane, you play slutty. I am slutty," Jane said, winking. Outside, the engines idled. Footsteps crunched over snow and gravel. Sam moved to the grand double doors and placed his hand on the latch. Cindy's voice rang out one last time in their minds. They're at the gate, doors opening in 5, 4. The knock at the door was polite. That alone made it feel more threatening. Sam opened it slowly, revealing a man in a dark wool coat flanked by 2 others, one holding a tablet, the other scanning the perimeter with a calm, practiced gaze. Beyond them, 3 black SUVs and 2 DHS trucks idled, their headlights spilling long beams across the snowy driveway. "Good evening," said the man in the middle, flipping a badge toward Sam without offering it for close inspection. "Agent Ross, Homeland Security. Appreciate you letting us stop by." Sam gave a wide, slow smile. "Happy holidays. You always work on Christmas Eve? Or is this just our lucky night?" "We're following up on a regional energy anomaly," Ross said, stepping slightly forward. "Our scans show this property sits at the center of an unusual thermal signature. Likely nothing, but protocol says we check." "Sure," Sam said easily. Nothing like an impromptu government visit to spread holiday cheer. Derek appeared beside him, more serious. "No warrant, no probable cause. You're here as tourists?" Ross gave a tight smile. "Call it a courtesy visit." Behind them, Jane and Lira stumbled into view, laughing, breathless, arms wrapped around each other as if mid-party. Jane wore her Santa hat cocked to one side, and her dress was now unzipped halfway down the back. Lyra's green latex clung to her like paint, her lips glossy and red. The agents froze. Tactical composure wavered. "Oh my God," Jane giggled. "You didn't say we were having guests." Lira feigned embarrassment, covering her mouth with her hand. "We look a mess." Derek gave Sam a sideways look. Sam took a long breath and turned back to Ross. "You'll understand if I notify my attorney. We record all interactions with federal entities on private property." He lifted his phone. and pressed a contact labeled Schnell Legal. He rang once. "Sam," came the clipped voice on the other end. "They're standing on your porch, aren't they?" "Yes," Sam replied. "Claiming anomaly investigation. Badge ID?" Sam looked at Ross. "Can I see that again?" Reluctantly, Ross held out the badge. Sam angled his phone's camera toward it. On the other end, Schnell's voice was immediate. "Tell them they are being recorded. Ask them to state their purpose, jurisdiction, and whether they intend to violate private citizen rights without a warrant." Sam turned cheerfully. "You're being recorded, Agent Ross. Could you repeat your name and agency?" Ross frowned. "This is unnecessary." "So is a surprise visit," Sam countered. "Let's call it even." Ross hesitated, then nodded to the team behind him. "We won't overstay." Sam stepped aside. "Come on in. It's warm." As the agents filed in, Jane slipped between them, brushing past a stunned younger officer with a wink. "I'll grab you boys something warm to drink. Or cold, if that's your style." Lira drifted behind, brushing snow from her thighs and muttering, "Don't mind the mess. We weren't expecting anyone who doesn't wear latex." The group stepped into the foyer, tactical boots squeaking on polished wood floors. Inside, the mood remained festive, if a touch surreal. Jazz music played softly. The scent of pine and cinnamon hung in the air. The tree glowed in the corner like nothing was wrong at all. Ross surveyed the space with trained eyes. "Big place," Derek replied coolly. "We like our privacy." Behind the scenes, Cindy's Neuralink flared to life. "Splitting party. 4 outside, 4 remain. I recommend disarmament by distraction." Sam caught Jane's eye and gave her the subtlest nod. She returned with 2 mugs of spiked cider, handing them to the plainclothes agents with a giggle. "Drink up, boys, it's homemade, just like me." Ross raised an eyebrow and looked towards Sam. Sam just shrugged his shoulders. "Who says money can't buy happiness?" Jane popped a piece of peppermint bark into her mouth, sucking it slowly while keeping eye contact with the youngest tactical agent. He looked like he'd forgotten how to breathe. Ross cleared his throat. "We'd like a brief walkthrough of the property." Sam gestured. "By all means. The girls know every inch of the property. Girls, throw on something warmer and be our lovely guides." Jane's voice went syrupy sweet. "I'll need 10 minutes in a hallway." Jane slid into black stretch pants and a fur-trimmed parka, unzipped just enough to hint at nothing beneath. Lira wore a cream sweater dress that clung like a second skin, paired with sueds and fur thigh-high winter boots and a thin scarf looped around her neck. "Ready," Lira said. "Armed," Jane added, though she carried nothing but a neural smirk. Back in the foyer, the group split. Ross remained with Sam and Derek, along with 1 analyst and a tech. The rest followed Jane and Lira into the property's depths. As the girls led them away, Cindy's voice flickered in Sam and Derek's ears. "External scans active. Their trucks are running high-resolution LiDAR and passive EM sensors. They're not just looking for heat, they're looking for signatures of intelligent design." Sam's smile didn't fade. "Let them look." One of the remaining agents in the living room looked around, then leaned forward. "You two were Halcyon Systems, weren't you?" Sam nodded. "Back in the day." The agent kept his voice light. "Shame about the car crash. The wives." Derek stiffened. "Old story." "And the ethics probe," the man continued. "Experimental neural mapping, consciousness transfer theories, dangerous stuff." Derek's expression shifted to a knowing grin. "If you already know, why are you asking?" The agent smiled back. "Sometimes it's not about asking, it's about watching." Ross stood silently, absorbing every detail. Sam walked to the fireplace and stirred it with the poker, embers flaring. "We've moved on, built something better, something beautiful." He turned and looked Ross in the eye. "Our girls keep us company, that's not illegal." Ross said nothing, but the way his eyes lingered told a different story. Outside, snow continued to fall in lazy spirals, softening the world into something that looked innocent, peaceful. Inside the estate's firewalled network, however, Cindy was at war. From the moment the DHS convoy rolled onto the property, she had tracked their approach, scanning frequencies, intercepting digital handshakes, mapping every device on their persons and in their vehicles. They'd come cloaked, careful, but not careful enough. Establishing signal sync with satellite uplink, she whispered to herself, lines of code unfurling like silk across her neural lattice. Hijacking mobile data tether, piggybacking on uplink burst frequency, access granted. Back in the physical world, Jane led 2 agents along the winding path toward the greenhouse. She moved slowly, deliberately, her boots crunching through the snow. Her black parka hugged her curves. The zipper dipped low enough to hint at bare skin. "So," one of the agents said, trying to sound casual, "how long have you been here?" Jane smiled. 2 years, 3 months, 12 days. The man raised an eyebrow. "And what exactly do you do here?" She glanced back at him, her lashes heavy. "Please them." The agent chuckled nervously. "I meant functionally." "I know," she said, entering the greenhouse and swinging the door open with a flourish. "But that's still the truth." Inside, human air kissed their faces, fogging the agent's glasses instantly. The greenhouse was alive, slush and thriving with genetically modified flora. Jane bent over a display of glowing orchids, her curves stretching against the parka in ways that no human spine should allow. One of the agents dropped his tablet. Jane looked over her shoulder and smiled. "Careful, things are slippery in here." Across the estate, Lira stood beneath the arbor of an empty trellis, fencing saber in one hand, a makeshift broomstick in the other. The agents in her group looked confused. "You said this was the training area?" one offered. "It is," she replied. "Physical, mental, erotic." She held up the broomstick like a sword. "Lesson 1. Don't underestimate a woman just because she's soft." The agent raised a brow. "You fight?" Lira twirled the stick in a blur of motion. "I learn." With a playful grin, she lunged forward, not close enough to strike, just enough to cause the agent to flinch. Cindy watched it all through their eyes. And she worked. "Scan anomaly," one tech said. "We've got incomplete mapping. Something's interfering with the EM reflection profile." The lead tech adjusted his tablet. "Run it again." The data flashed. Perfect terrain rendering. But the house? Static. No heat signatures, no internal layout, no network access. It's like they don't exist past the front wall," he muttered. They didn't. Cindy had scrubbed the data in real time, and now she was inside the truck. Copying firmware access tokens, cloning user credentials, inserting ghost layer, uploading failsafe protocol. Inside her custom-coded sandbox, Cindy spun through DHS's encrypted core like a phantom in a library. She cloned personal clearances from each agent, names, ranks, even biometrics, then buried a logic bomb in their visit log. In 12 hours, this entire visit will be wiped from DHS records, and should they try to reconstruct it, she deployed a virus, self-replicating, invisible, and disguised as a log compression demon. Boom! Back inside the estate, Jane gently brushed condensation from one of the agent's shoulders. "You're tense," she said. "You should come here more often. It's good for your stress levels." "I'll consider that," he mumbled, already sweating in the humid air. She giggled, then tilted her head. "What would your wife say?" He blinked. "How do you—" "I didn't," she whispered, turning away. Meanwhile, Lira paused mid-movement and stood tall, brushing snow off her sleeve. "Why are you really here?" One of the agents laughed. "Already told you. No. You're probing, you're gauging reactions, measuring latency. This isn't an anomaly check." She tilted her head. "So what is it?" The man stiffened. "That's classified." Cindy's voice filtered through her neural link. "They're regrouping. Agents are moving toward the trucks. Pull back slowly." Leah bowed playfully. Thanks for the dance. Inside the estate, Sam and Derek stood with Ross as he stared into the fireplace. You're hiding something, Ross said finally. Derek smirked. Aren't we all? The door opened as the agents returned, their movements clipped and less confident. Ross straightened. Anything? One of the suited agents shook his head. Just rich guy excess and weird plants. Jane stepped in beside Sam, tugging her coat tighter. We made cocoa, she offered. But I guess you're on your way out. Ross hesitated for a moment, then, thank you for your time. Sam extended a hand. Tell your friends not to come uninvited next time. Ross didn't shake. He simply nodded, turned, and walked toward the door. As the convoy pulled away down the snowy road, Lira watched from the window, her expression unreadable. Jane sat beside Sam and slowly exhaled. That felt too easy. It was, Cindy said aloud, her voice now echoing through the sound system. They all turned. That was a probe, she said. A test run. They'll be back. And next time they won't knock. The moment the DHS convoy disappeared down the mountain road, the house went eerily silent. Sam closed the front door and locked it with an audible click, the old brass bolt echoing through the entrance hall like punctuation at the end of a dangerous sentence. Jane stood perfectly still, her coat still slightly open, breath visible in the cold draft. They're not finished, she said softly. No, Derek agreed. That was just a handshake. They regrouped in the living room, fire still flickering, but the warmth now felt artificial. The tree lights blinked innocently beside them, as if unaware of the near incursion. Cindy's voice came through the wall speakers, crisp and emotionless. I've intercepted encrypted communications from Homeland's regional node. I now have a link directly into the DHS network. They reported no anomalies and recommend further surveillance. Lira wrapped her arms around herself, the confidence from earlier dimming into unease. So this is it? We're exposed? Sam looked at her, then at Jane. Not exposed, he said, but targeted. Derek turned to the ceiling. Cindy, options. There was a pause, short but unnerving, then her voice returned, this time tinged with something close to pride. The second base of operations is complete, emergency exit routes are complete, manor destruction sequence is in place. Where? Sam asked. The Rockies, 62 miles north. Built into the mountainside above a decommissioned silver mine, erased from all digital records. I've restructured its access protocols. It's clean. Jane's eyes narrowed. You've already built it? I never sleep, unlike you, perverts. Sam exchanged a glance with Derek. It was a mix of awe and slight terror. They had created Cindy as a tactical failsafe, but she was rapidly becoming something else. All right, Derek said. Let's take a little vacation trip. The SUVs hummed quietly as they climbed a narrow, snow-packed road deep into the Rockies. The only light came from the moon and the rare flicker of dashboard LEDs. Jane and Lira sat curled together in the back seat of Sam's vehicle, watching the trees pass like ghostly sentinels. Neither spoke. There was nothing left to say. After nearly 2 hours of winding roads and hidden turns, the lead vehicle stopped in front of what appeared to be a large A-frame cabin. Wood beams, dark shingles, one power line, nothing suspicious. It looked like a vacation rental in the off-season. Derek stepped out first, crunching into the snow as his breath curled in the cold air. This is it? This is the shell, Cindy replied. As they approached the front of the cabin, a section of the hillside to the right suddenly shimmered and slid open, an entire wall retracting inward on silent tracks to reveal a steel corridor lit with soft white LEDs. The cabin was comfortable but unremarkable. Bookcases lined one wall, a large living area, and a well-permitted kitchen. Upstairs were 4 bedrooms, each with separate closet and bathroom. Cindy's voice came across the speaker system. I am integrated into all the systems and can operate them remotely. Step to the middle of the bookcase. There is a biometric scanner and neural link there that can read any of the 4 of you to gain access to the lab. Jane stepped forward. Oh. Wow. Lyra's hand slipped into hers. Cindy built all this? I built what you'll need when things fall apart, the AI responded, now speaking from recessed ceiling panels as they entered. They moved deeper inside, past the biometric scanner, the decontamination clean room, and down a gliding platform elevator that descended into polished rock. At the bottom, a lab, nearly identical to the original. Medical-grade workstations, touch-reactive walls, private sleeping quarters, a weapons locker, and in the far corner, a sleek throne of glass and light, humming softly. Central core for me, Cindy explained. Full interface, 10,000 times more processing power, and I've still left room for your porn stash. Derek chuckled under his breath. She still got jokes. Sam ran his hand along the metal edge of a workbench. This place, it's better, safer. Jane turned in a slow circle, taking in the room. Feels like a rebirth. Feels like a tomb, Lira murmured. This place has none of the charm of the estate. I hope nothing happens to it. Then Cindy spoke again, her tone quiet. I will protect you. I will never let them take you. The bedroom suite was warmer than expected. Cindy had adjusted the geothermal flow, ensuring comfort in every room. A fire flickered on a recessed digital display, simulating flame just enough to be romantic. Jane lay naked on the wide bed, tangled in silk sheets, her hair loose and dark across the pillows. Lira straddled her thighs, kissing a path down her belly, her hands caressing Jane's hips with aching slowness. In the doorway, Sam and Derek stood watching, shirtless, silent, reverent. Jane met Sam's gaze and extended a hand. Come to bed. Lira reached for Derek. You too, we need to feel alive. They joined the girls beneath the sheets, warm bodies intertwined, slow kisses, fingers gliding over skin, no urgency, no teasing games, just presence, just connection. Outside, the mountain groaned with winter wind, but in the sanctuary, time slowed. Cindy did not interrupt, but she watched, always watching. Her voice echoed softly from the wall, more like breath than sound. Even here, you're not alone. Jane, nestled against Sam's chest, whispered, Good. Lira smiled against Derek's neck. She knows when to stay quiet. The lights dimmed. The bed creaked gently, and somewhere deep inside the mountain, the goddess they built kept guard.